Hello sunshines and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to roast some of the most popular zero waste swaps that I actually think you don't need. And not because they are not useful per se, majority of them actually are, but because you already have something in your house that you can use instead. So the first thing I want to talk about is the bamboo travel cutlery set. And please allow me to go on around here because it's something that really bugs me. Before start though, I do not want to offend anyone. If you have one and you like one, it's no problem. I do understand why it can be practical. I mean, it's very small and it's very lightweight, so if you're commuting every day, it can make sense. The reason why it bugs me though is the fact that it became one of the symbols of the zero waste movement, and it's often portrayed as one of the first swaps you should make to be sustainable, and this is absolutely idiotic. And that's because I'm pretty sure that everyone has something like this at home. These are just very normal cutlery that I'm pretty sure you already have in your drawers. And considering that the zero waste movement should be all about reducing the amount of stuff that we consume and so we buy, and using what we already have as much as possible to remove pressure from the environment, advising people to buy something they don't need and they already have just because it's trendy, I really don't see the point. It's counterintuitive. My second point is these things are expensive, and not really for any other reason but for being trendy. So of course people perceive the zero waste movement and sustainability in general as being too expensive, elitist, and they pull away from them. And that's fair, because if you're advising people to buy something that is overpriced just because it's trendy and that they already have, it's going to be too expensive. The second thing you don't need is a fancy reusable spray bottle. Everyone I see is talking about DIY cleaning is using the same set of very cool, I will admit, brown glass reusable spray bottle. But they are completely unnecessary, because the best thing you can do for your finances and the environment is using something like this. These are just like old plastic bottles from my old cleaners that I am filling up with my own products, and this is going to be way more sustainable because you are avoiding this to go in landfill, at least not as fast. So staying in the cleaning department, another thing you really don't need is a reusable kitchen cloth. Now that's just because if you have any old towel or rugs, you can just cut it up and use that instead. In this case, it needs to be like something that absorbs water well. It needs to be a towel or rug, something like this, because like an old t-shirt, for example, will become damp immediately and pretty useless. So if you have that, it will work even better, because as you can see, something like this has it's like knitted, so a lot of stuff gets stuck into the knit and it become nasty very quickly, and it's very difficult to clean. So it will be next on my list are reusable cotton rounds. Now, at least in this case, I do understand why they became so popular. I mean, they are substituting a very common product that is very wasteful, because cotton is a very resource intensive kind of material, so growing it just to use it once is really wasteful. Also, they do have the same like feeling and look of the old products, so people don't have the impression of having made a big change in their life, while they are making actually good change for the environment. So I do understand the logic behind them. With that said, I still think that they are not that useful. First of all, they always come in multi-packs, which for me is a problem in itself, because I'm not sure that everyone needs 10 rounds, so obliging people to buy 10 doesn't make a lot of sense. They are very expensive and they are round, which can sound silly, but actually if you cut something round, you always have like pieces of fabrics around it that will go wasted necessarily. And again, considering that the zero waste movement is all about reducing waste, make them square. And finally, it is really something you don't need. First of all, there are tons of detergents that you can use without any kind of like cotton rounds, so that's a good option. Or you can, again, cut up any kind of fabric you have around the house and that are unusable for anything else and use it instead. If you want, you can make it round, otherwise you can just use it as it is. And here, even a t-shirt would make the job. It's just, it's important that it's soft, and that's about it. Then we have produce bag. Now again, disclaimer, I do have some because my boyfriend got them for free, so we have some, but the majority of time we use this. These are just like old paper bag from bakeries that didn't allow us to use our own produce bag. We kept them, we reused them many times, and when they are unusable anymore, they can be recycled. So again, I think that if you are buying in bulk, produce bags are probably useful, but probably you don't need as many as you think. Having just like 3 or 4 could be enough, and for the rest you can do with like things like this, boxes, jars, and like anything you can put food in it basically. And same goes for any kind of storage food solution like boxes, dasher bags, jar glasses, things like this. Now again, you know that I have my second-hand jars and I absolutely love them and I use them to death, but I also use a lot of just reused food jars. I have an entire arsenal of old plastic Tupperware that aren't actually even mine. I received them from people. So what I mean is, again, if you are buying in bulk, you will probably need some form of food storage, and if you need them, by all means buy them. You can find them very easily and very cheap second hand, but you probably need less than you think. Try to understand how much you need and buy only the excess, because we really don't need to have those fantastic pantry filled with mason jars that look all the same, just in different sizes. My pantry is quite a mess and I honestly love it. So to conclude, I hope it was clear from this video that my point is really not to judge anyone who wants these items or who already has these items. As you can see, I have almost all of them, so I'm definitely not feel of guilt. So what I'm trying to do is just a little bit make you learn from my mistake. As you can see, some of these items I have, but I have also regret having bought them. So try not to do the same. But my biggest point is try to make you assess if you really need something or if you just want it because you like it. Because if it is something that you just like it because it's trendy or because it fits that the perfect zero waste aesthetic that you want to achieve, then maybe it's really not that a great idea to buy it. And if you actually need something, then try maybe to assess if there is something else that you can use in the meantime and that could do the same job, because that would be ultimately the really zero waste alternative. And if you do things like this, yes, maybe in time you will start substituting this like temporary replacement, because nothing is forever. So yeah, all your rugs are completely dead, or your water bottles are completely dead, then for sure buy the more durable solution. But if you do things like this, it will be not only more sustainable for the environment, but it's also going to be more sustainable for your finances, because you're not buying everything at the same time. You are buying things only when you actually need them. And that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I always do content about sustainable living and sustainable fashion. Until next time, bye!